Welcome to this episode of Wanderlust Solo Women Travel Unscripted. Real women, real stories, real journeys, and no filter. Join Gina, your host, to share the experiences and stories of solo female travelers and advocates from all over the world, with a mission to empower women of all ages, backgrounds, and life stages to embrace solo female travel with confidence and enthusiasm, while being authentic and real, unscripted. Confronting the challenges and apprehensions many women face when considering solo adventures, providing inspiration to break through those barriers. Sharing how life transitions, loss, and trauma can lead to amazing experiences, rediscovery, and life journeys. The good, the bad, and the ugly of authentic and honest travel. So let's throw out the script, get comfy, and jump right into this episode.
Joining me is Charu Seth. She is the founder of Thrive Transformation, an author of an anthology, She Stands Strong, and an identity and transformational coach who helps women rebuild who they are after life cracks them open. As a mother, divorcee, and single mother building her business from the ground up, she knows what it means to say, "I'm fine," while quietly reinventing everything. Part of her rebuilding and self-reinvention process involves traveling to explore, understand, and remain open to new ideas and experiences, fostering internal growth. It has provided her a safe space to introspect without judgment and to understand herself better while growing in uncomfortable situations. Let's dive into this powerful episode. Welcome back, everyone, and if you're tuning in for the first time, this is Wanderlust Solo Women Travel Unscripted, the podcast where real women share real stories of adventure, transformation, and empowerment. I just would like to welcome Charu to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Gina, for having me over today. I'm looking forward to being on this show.
I know. And I mean, you're coming to us, you're just having atrocious weather there in the US. So I really appreciate you showing up. As we always start our episodes with the signature pass the parcel question, it's just a way to break the ice. And I think this is a really cool question for you too. The previous guest asked, in what ways has travel expanded who you are as a person?
Thank you so much for this question. And whoever gave this question, I think it resonates with me at such a deeper level that I see travel as, if I might say, as a metaphor in my life, as a self-expression, as an identity reinvention, as my enabler. That's the biggest thing. It's an enabler for all the things that I had compartmentalized myself and said that I wasn't capable to do so. Able to do, go solo. Able to be in places and with people where I had to put myself. Able to take a chance on myself. Able to take that risk and say that it's okay. That's also part of your journey. Because until the time I was in my familiar spaces, I knew that I wasn't growing. So I had to outgrow it. So traveling is a way to outgrow all the things that I have known and want to grow into something that I do not know about myself. And that's how I see traveling. And the biggest thing is the joy it gives me in expanding myself and in realizing and introspecting that there's so much more beyond me, beyond my microcosm of the world. We're so insular that I can actually look at a bigger picture. So it's gratitude.
Oh, I love that.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I really resonate 100%. And I think that's so true. It's taking yourself out of the box that you've been put in and your limitations and showing you that you can expand outside that box, that, the limitations quite often are what we put on ourselves, aren't they?
Always is, right? I mean, it's just the way that we are trapped in our own identity and our own construct of beliefs, ideas, patterns, our consciousness, our environment, our cultural growth, right? We're so embedded in it. We are so coded in that. In today's language, we say we are so coded in that we forget that there's something else beyond that we should explore. And through any form and in any medium. But for me, travel is a very deeply spiritual and a personal journey
Yeah.
because it has always been an enabler in my life. Enabled to do anything that I said no to, it has allowed me to take that chance on myself and say, let me test what no means.
How did that start for you? Like, what was the catalyst for this evolution for you?
I don't know. I mean, if I think back, I go back to it. I came from a family. But we weren't as travel savvy, to put in very simple terms. But there was some amount of curiosity. I think curiosity growing up as a kid led me to the world, and learning about it in school really wanted me to, be in a space where professionally I would either be a journalist or I would be somewhere in the capacity of, like a travel, some person at that time. Like there
Yeah.
weren't that many jobs then. I'm talking about fields and areas. But reading really transported me. Reading classics, reading, fiction really took me to the other side of the world. And that other
Yeah.
side of the world got me curious. And I had family that would travel, that were living some places out. And I was always wanting to explore what it was. And my biggest breakthrough came when I was working for the airline industry. You say stars align for you, talk about alignment. And bam, I was right there in that alignment cycle. I guess so. Universe just collided and said, let's make this happen for her. And once I was in it, it's like being plugged into it. And then after that, oh my God, my appetite for travel, insatiable. I think that's what happened. And I continue growing that appetite with the help of various other tools, whether it's through books, whether it's through podcasts, whether it's through storytelling. I keep nurturing it. I have to
Yeah.
keep nurturing it because that's so me. That's just me. That's just what speaks to me.
Yeah. I actually love how you've touched on that. Firstly, I love the fact that you mentioned the word curiosity, because I think we all need to still be curious. Doesn't matter what your age. And I was a curious child. As I asked a lot of questions and I was fascinated. This is back in the day when we had book like encyclopedias and stuff like that. Not like we have now. But that wanting to be curious, I think, is so important, because if you're wanting to be curious, you're wanting to learn. And I think too, for those that maybe travel to another country might be a little bit inaccessible, what you just said about reading and podcasts and other creative ways of feeding that, I think is actually really important too. It's still to keep that curiosity alive in whatever form. And I think that's really actually quite a neat insight that there's many forms that we can take journeys, and some of them are within our own minds. And I really love that.
Yeah, I mean, to think about it, now with this digital age where everything is fed to us, given to us in ways where we are visually being able to see. So we are visually fed, we hear. So all our senses are activated altogether. So I'm talking about a time when you and I, we were at that stage where we just had one medium. We
Yeah.
probably had the books. And then for a greater part, we had, the old traditional form of reading a newspaper, going through journals, and also, yes, television and radio, right? That was a very big part of growing up. And music. Let's not forget
Yeah.
music. Music, I think, is the most engaging and the most connecting factor that would take you to any place, anywhere, at any time,
Yeah.
that needed no traveling, no boundaries, nothing, right? So just imagine when you're at that cusp and you have nothing and you have this. You're making the best use. But today, since we have everything around, I just feel that there, as much as there's accessibility, it has not become about what travel speaks to you and
Yeah.
why does it speak to you. It is not about what is Instagram worthy. It is not about the checklist. It's not about all of that. Like, I'm a very history buff, very big history buff. So my travel somewhere resonates with history and architecture. and culture because I have been that. And where does that come from? That comes from books, that comes
Yeah.
from encyclopedias, that comes from journals, that comes from all of these things. So I carry that with me in my travels. And that is where my identity grows and why travel is and what it means to me. So now my travel has a caricature and actually has its own little figure that I know what my traveling looks like and why it should be. It's not endless traveling because Instagram told me, because these are the things I got to see, before I die. No. Yes, I want to, but you know what? I wanted more than that. So that's where the depth comes in. It's like connection. When we
Yeah.
talk about human connection, it's the same kind of connect that I'm looking at when I actually make my travels. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I use the term conscious travel when you're consciously engaging in the journey that you're having. So exactly what you said, it's not just about ticking stuff off, and it's about having a more in-depth relationship with that journey you're taking, and you do get so much more out of it. And I think, another thing we chatted about off air is about how you can reclaim your identity and self-worth. And I know I've done this. Just as you said, it was my enabler. It's what I use to reclaim my identity and self-worth. So what can you say to other women that are, feeling a little bit lost that way? We're both, advocates for this being a tool to use. Is there a message you'd give other women that are thinking about doing this or how to go about it?
I mean, we all know, we somewhere want to kind of shush the voice in us. Why? Because we are afraid. What are we afraid of? We're afraid of unfamiliar spaces,
Yeah.
unfamiliar places. We're afraid of even taking the chance in us and believing that I can, I really can. I'm not saying that do not travel, just go solo or, do not look at it that I'm trying to take off all the negativity that's associated with that. Because you're a woman, there's this
Yeah.
script. No, because you're a woman, so what? So what? I mean, how is that anyway going to help you when we talk about identity? Where are you going to let your voice out and say, this is truly me and this is what defines me? And this is absolutely the unscripted version of me. I'm not following anyone
Yeah.
else's path. I'm just doing what speaks to me and is aligned to me. And to everyone out there who's listening, I mean, what is it that's really stopping you and why?
Yeah.
Why? I went through that process. Seriously, it wasn't easy because I have been lately, I've been traveling solo, but before that, I was traveling mostly with friends, family, and friends with enough of disruptions in my life. And like I said, traveling has been my enabler, turned to be my healing doctor for me in my life. And all I could think about was how do I first, it started as an escapist attitude. And then I
Yeah.
said, okay, escapism can be there for some time, but can it sustain? Is it going to help me evolve and grow? No. I need to shift and change that escapist to something that is more positive. I said, what does that be? That is when enabler came in for me. That is when the healing came in for me. And I said, I need to ready to start taking a chance on me. Why? Because I'm reinventing myself. I am squashing all the scripts, all the images that are set to be who Charu is.
Yeah.
I do not want that tag anymore. I do not want to carry what was before because at one point I was traveling by myself. I was doing solo. What is it that's changed now? My self worth and confidence took a deep dive. That's what changed. I said, okay, how am I going to get that back? I thrive in my circle. How am I going to get that back? The only way for me to get that back is to put myself in that very, very uncomfortable space and say, you're doing it by yourself. Doesn't matter how it goes. It
Yeah.
just doesn't matter. Because right now, the more you overthink about it, you're judging yourself. So stop judging yourself. Just stop it.
They're such wise words. I think what you said about being unscripted, tearing up the script, because we are confined. And I think especially as we get older and as women, we are by society, whether it's directly or indirectly, supposed to be a certain way or behave a certain way. And especially in different cultures and society, we're supposed to quieten down and go into the background. And I think things are changing, and it is a time of rediscovery, and it's a powerful time of rediscovery, because I think when you really peel it back, once you do get a bit older, you do have the wisdom of really knowing who you are, who you really are, but it's just getting that out and articulating it is the hard bit.
Yeah. I mean, we as human beings are supposed to be evolving, aren't we? Shouldn't we be evolving?
We should.
Then why are we so afraid of evolving? Evolving means giving yourself a chance to grow, to understand. And if that means failure, that is fine. That is part of evolution. That is how it's supposed to be. iPhone didn't become an iPhone just like that. Every year there is a new upgraded version. 1, 2, 3, 4, and what? We are now at 17. We're ready to buy an iPhone at 17, 18 and pay ridiculous $1,000+, but we're not ready to do that for ourselves. Why? And why? What? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. So my thing was, that's exactly where I was at that crossroads when I realized that, okay, what is it that's stopping me? And the answer was, I had come in my own way. I really needed to pause and think and question, why was I doing that? Because it was not building me up, it was tearing me down. If I want reinvention, if I want to move forward, why am I taking even one step back? Why am I regressing?
Yeah.
That really did. And what you brought up a very important point about our society, our cultural values. And somewhere I was loosely defined by it, but another part of me was I was almost taking that as my badge of honor too, right? And then this whole thing of having been through divorce, single parents, single mom, building her own, from the scratch, all of those things. I kept hearing everyone talking, I'm feeding it into me. It's like a lot of chaos, utter. I was like, there was no clarity, zero clarity. And I said, okay, this is not working in my favor. Then how am I building myself? How am I doing that? That is going to enable me. And that is when I said, shut all the chaos, squash all the questions, and I do not need to answer to anyone. I'm not responsible, do not need to do that. I do not need validation. The only person that I need for me is just me. That's
Yeah.
it. I don't need anyone else's validation, whether they believe I can do a solo trip by myself, even if they question, why are you doing it alone? Don't you have anyone?
Yeah.
Why aren't you going in a group? Why?
The
Right?
frustrating thing about that is it's still a question. Like, do they, I don't know, do they ask, I'm not anti-men, but do they ask men the same questions? It's like, why is it a question still these days? And the fact that, okay, you're alone, that doesn't make you lesser of a person. That, it doesn't reduce your value. And I think that's so important. That I actually was reading something the other day about being alone and how people see it as such a negative thing, especially for women. Yet a lot of women are actually finding it quite empowering now, because they don't have to answer to anybody else. And it is a funny thing about why we're still asked these questions. Why are you going somewhere alone, and don't you want to be with other people? And it's interesting, isn't it, that we're still having these conversations.
We're still having these conversations. But Gina, there's one very good thing that I feel that I'm glad these questions are being asked, because we are having these conversations more. And to break that glass ceiling, you need to have these kind of uncomfortable conversations to actually seep in and say, okay, let me tell you why. Let me tell you about my experience. Let me tell you about my growth. Let me give you. It's not looking for validation at that point. At that point, where I see it is clearly stating why I'm doing what I'm doing and what it makes me, how my identity is growing, how I am evolving, right? And somewhere women are stuck in their own identities that they themselves do not know what their questions are. They just do not know. So for them, this is novelty. This is new. And I get it. And I'm so glad that they're asking me, because now I'm at that juncture in my life where I feel that I can very well embrace those questions and really come out with clarity why it's a solo trip. why I'm okay being in unknown places, country, people, doing what I do without any judgment or without any doubt or fear. Because now I come across as a person of authority. Hey, you know what? She knows her shit. She knows her
Love
shit.
that.
She can do it. She knows her shit. You know, if she's stuck somewhere, if she's got a situation like this, she knows just how to do it. And you know what? Women need to empower other women with these stories. And that's exactly what you're doing through this. That's exactly what you're doing through this podcast. We need to empower, and empowerment works beyond having conversations where those conversations actually realistically translate into action. So I'm doing action with my conversations.
Yeah, and I think I've actually been touching on this because a lot of people, do talk about, oh, do this, quit your 9 to 5 and that, but it's how do you action that, and giving tools that are realistic to some people and not out of their reach to be able to, like you said, not take that step back, but at least take one step forward. So they've got to be realistic actions that everyday women can take. What is one of those suggestions you'd make, even if it's just a really small thing, to take that step forward rather than one back?
Everyone has their own default mode that they go into, but I would like to say keep the default mode a little bit away for some time and get into practicing one new thing. And for everyone, that one new thing can be different. For me, that one new thing is I got back to tennis. I'm getting back to tennis. During my travel, I picked up tennis again, wielded a racket, right? So as a kid, I used to play tennis. I kind of stopped. And once again, where did my journey begin? Again in travel. Again, I did that. So I'm shifting patterns. I'm shifting the known, what I know, what is familiar, to something that once was known and familiar, but getting into something again after a while to reclaim that identity. So step one would be anything of that one thing that you probably forgot. It's your hobby. It can be writing. It can be reading. It can be music. It can be just about anything. Tap into that because that's there for a reason. And you have just kind of pushed it inside so hard and locked it and wrapped it. Just unopen it like a new box of gift that you've received and just see the joy it brings. Just unopen that. It's that little inner child, that we all go back to. Why do we keep saying nostalgia?
Yeah.
Why do we say, I'll listen to this music and it's nostalgia? Or it's that food, soul food. Why do we keep going back to that? We go back to that because that gives us a sense of security. That gives us familiarity. And if familiarity is what you want, then tap into that one thing because that one thing is that one step you have taken and will enable you to many more steps because that's where belief is built. And you keep doing it again and again. So you're rewiring yourself into something that's beautiful that you already knew. You're just changing it, tweaking it a little bit here. So that would be something I think, and a way that people, women especially, we outgrow ourselves. It's great to outgrow, but we cannot outgrow our inner child. And we should not.
No.
We should not. So I would say that.
I think that's such a good thing. I can remember I not that confident in front of people, so I actually took a salsa dance class, and that came from after being in Spain and stuff like that. So there's that. But as a child, now you say it, I did dance lessons. So like I said, it's rooting it back to something, and I think nostalgia is it's a place of happiness sometimes too. I've been watching Stranger Things at the moment on Netflix, and it's so funny because it's children of the 80s, and it's like, oh my God, I remember that thing, or I remember that song or that movie or those clothes, and it brings you back to a place of joy in that, and the child, and I think that's a really important thing and an accessible thing that anybody can do. And I think that makes it super important that some of these things, there are tools that are small steps that are accessible, that are doing despite, your financial situation or your social situation, that you can action to make those small changes and step into somewhere different. I think that's such good advice. I really, really love that. And like you said, is about using all of this as a transformation and reclaiming your identity and as a learning tool. I mean, we both use travel as that tool. And I think if that's your jam and you get that same feeling, I think that's just an important step that you can take, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, my high is traveling.
Yeah.
It's just like you said, it's my jam. It's my high. It's the best intoxicating thing that I can have because that intoxicating thing keeps me so alive,
Yeah.
keeps me so vibrant, keeps me so curious, keeps me so ready to want to explore, want to learn, want to absorb, and just that hunger, not because I'm physically traveling. Yes, physically I'm traveling, but I travel through books. I travel through various other ways, right? So, and it's also a way to calm myself. It's also a way to treat me. It's also a way of like a positive reinforcement to me for all the things that I'm doing good and for the times that I've struggled. Hey, this is the one thing that is going to calm you. So, I mean, it's just not one thing, right? Travel. Like for me, it's not just one thing. It was, like I said, it was my physician and my doctor at one time when I needed it. At the other time, it was my guide because traveling, that's what it meant, the curiosity. At another time, it's my enabler, it's my teacher because my appetite for history, culture, art, music. So the way I see it, travel is all of those roles that it has played for me that is actually shaping me and giving me identity every day. And every layer is just forming every time. I'm just forming a new layer. There's more and more depth in it, and there's more and more layer to it. And if there's one thing that I cannot live is without travel. I know I cannot live. And I'm very privileged and I'm blessed. I work to travel. I earn to travel. I live to travel. So it's could it be anything else intoxicating to me? No, I can give up everything else, probably not this, because it's such an enabler to me. I find it such an enabler and an empowering force in my life. And I have passed that on to my children as well, who are themselves being very big travelers. And at a very young age, Gina, I had this map behind their beds. And I said, you pick the country, you pick the place, you do the research. I think we were 10 or 12, and you let me know where you want to go. So the first time they said Singapore and Hong Kong. They did the research, whatever little that they knew, 3 or 4 days, and we did it together. After that, they said Cairo, Egypt. Why Cairo, Egypt? Why do you want to go to Greece? I want to know the reason why you want to go. Because this character that I read in Rick Riordan's book, I was like, wow, okay, we are going to Egypt. We are doing Greece because you read that in Rick Riordan. We are doing it. And yes, you like history. We're doing it. So somewhere there was that connection and bond. And I saw that as a family, we were also connecting at a level where we were more empathetic. We were communicating and we were also opening up wonders to a big global conversation, to more things that we are experiencing. We're having a little bit more of consciousness and having a little bit more of patience because now I'm able to understand somebody else who's not speaking probably the same English or the same dialect as I'm speaking. Teaching that to my kids, I didn't realize, but that was happening. They started having more and more gratitude and patience and compassion and understanding as opposed to being judgmental. Oh my God, this is not up to the standard that it's in the US. Oh, this is not. No, Egypt wasn't like that. Different world altogether for me. For us, it was very different, but we were ready to embrace it. Yes, difference is what we wanted. That's why we got out because we wanted different.
I love, firstly, that's amazing that you're instilling that in your children in that way. I think that's incredible. And two, it's that difference. It's just like, you hear people, and it's so ironic. They go somewhere and they go, oh, but they didn't have my food, or, or the toilet wasn't like what I'm. That's the whole point, because you're going somewhere different. And you have, yes, sometimes, travel is uncomfortable sometimes. It does push your buttons and it does scare you and it does bring up uncomfortable truths and you see things you don't want to see. But like you said, all that stuff teaches you empathy and understanding and perspective. And I think the people that I have met personally, travel is an important part of their life. Those are some of the, things within themselves that, shine through, as they do have more empathy and understanding and compassion and perspective. And I think that's a great thing that it does teach you, and it is so empowering. So kudos to you for instilling that into your children. I think that's amazing.
And you're doing the same thing, Gina, through your podcast. I mean, that's exactly what you're doing too, having these kind of conversations, breaking down the myth, breaking down the barriers that we have towards travel. I mean, women traveling. I mean, traveling where? You're traveling within yourself too. You have to travel within yourself. You don't do that, you're not going to. The internal always does somewhere has to grow into your external vision and your perspective. If you do not do that inside, that work inside, it's not going to happen. And that is the real journey where you're starting. That is your to and from your destination too,
Yeah.
So
That's so true.
yeah, for me, I mean, it's a very personal thing, like I said, because I'm very passionate about it. Is also passionate about the reason being is I'm passionate about myself. I am, I just am. Because if I am not going to be passionate about myself, nobody else is going to be, right? If I do not give that to myself, who on this earth is going to give me that 200%? I'm not talking about 100. 100 is baseline, 200%. Who's going to give me? Nobody. So I go with the assumption that nobody is going to give it to me. That's my assumption. And that is what I go with. That I don't need it from anybody. Nobody's going to give it to me unless and until I do not give that to myself. And when I give that to myself, I see that I attract only those kind of people. And that is the beautiful part about it.
Yeah.
The people who have judgment, who will doubt me, who will be like these whispers where they say, oh, you know what, this is an escapist attitude, or it's much more fun to go with other people and things like that. It's a myopic view that they have. And it's okay. I'm okay with that. The reason being is you do what works for you. You do you. That doesn't work for me because that is limiting me. And I'm much more beyond that, girl. Much more beyond that. I'm 20,000 miles away. You can be sitting right over here because internally, externally, I want to be aligned. And that's not my destination.
And on that powerful note, we'll just jump in and start winding up this episode. I've just absolutely loved everything you've said. I mean, it's so empowering, and thank you so much for sharing it. And as a little fun thing, just at the end, there's two things we'll do: is a quick fire round, and then your question for the next guest. So for your quick fire round, I'm only going to ask like 4 or 5 questions. Word to describe your favorite solo travel moment. Just one word.
Intoxicating.
Oh, God, love it. If you could instantly learn one language, which would it be?
Spanish.
Oh, me too. I know, because you can transcends lots of countries. Oh, this is quite an. What's one thing you always buy as a souvenir from every country you visit?
Christmas souvenir for my dog. Or for me, for the place that I've traveled, something that is very, very historical, cultural, or something of that sort. I just got to pick up one of that.
I've got a friend that's right into Christmas. She's Christmas crazy. Every country I go to, I find something, and there usually is for Christmas for her. So do the same thing. And the last one, the best thing you've eaten while traveling. That's hard, eh?
That's so hard. That's so hard. Okay, I'm going to give it a shot.
Memorable then. One of the most memorable.
Oh my God, this is so difficult. But I just got back from my trip from Malaysia, and I was blown away with the vegan food scene there. And oh my God. So Pingsan, I want to get out to Pingsan. There's this place in Malaysia, the vegan one. And I told them, I said, is there any way I can bring you back to the US? Please let me know. Their food is so layered and so nuanced that it just blew my mind away. All the Michelin chefs out there, everyone, are nothing compared to them because they know what they make, because they honor their history, their culture, their roots. It's organic right from there. They're not trying to do flim-flamsy. It's all about going back to your roots.
Yeah.
And they are the bomb. So
awesome. Love it. And then what is your question you're going to ask the next guest?
I want to ask that, what is stopping you from taking that internal journey 20,000 miles away, externally, somewhere else, and why?
Oh, God, I can't wait to ask that one. That's going to be so good. So if people want to find you, what is the easiest way to find you? What channels are you on, Charu?
Yes, so I am on Instagram as well as on Facebook as Thrive Transform. My website is thrivealter.com. You can reach me by email at charu@thrivetransform.org.
And I will put all that information down below also for everyone. So thank you again, Charu, for this incredible episode. I really appreciate it. It's been so good having you here.
Thank you so much, Gina, for giving me this opportunity to be here. Like I said, my most passionate adventure is you've already taken me. I got back from one trip, you've already taken me into another one. But more than anything else, giving me this platform to really connect with women where we can share and talk what travel means to us. Don't limit yourself. And thank you so much for the great work that you're doing. We need more voices. We need more conversations because travel is just one way where we speak to ourselves. So get out and speak more and question more and keep evolving.
Thank you so much. And just remember, everyone, to stay tuned to the next episode. And it's never too late to unleash your own wanderlust.
Thanks for listening. Please share the love by liking, commenting, or subscribing, or join us in our Facebook community.